Welcome the producers, Lila Yacoub and Joanne Seller. The screenwriter, Robert Ramsey. Co-star Havana Rose Liu. And star Leo Woodall. Thank you all so much for being here. I love this movie. I was just talking with this amazing audience about all the specifics that we enjoyed, and it's just so great. Havana and Leo, you guys, your performances are just so outstanding. But I wanted to start at the beginning with Robert, I guess, how you came to write this screenplay with Daniel Roher, who is known for making documentaries, including the Oscar-winning Navalny. How did you come to work with him on his debut feature?
So my dear friend Langdon Page called me in like 2022, I think it was, maybe 2021, and he said, "I'm coming back to LA with this young dude I met, and we're making a movie. I can't even tell you what it's about." And I met Daniel, and I was, like everyone who speaks of Daniel, and I wish he was here, quite smitten. He's just an extraordinary life presence, force, really, of nature. And he was making Navalny with Langdon, who was editing it, and as it started to turn into Navalny, that was going to win an Academy Award, he wanted something in his pocket that would prepare him for making his first narrative feature. And he was impressed with my credentials, and because I was this idea that he had called TUNER, and he told it to me in my backyard, and I instantly heard something really special there. And I told him to write it, and he did. He barfed out a draft, as we say. It was rough, but it was full of beauty, and some of the scenes that still are in the movie. And when we started working together, it became just more distinct with every pass. It was really a joyous experience. He was remarkable. He was into research, and he had met this guy who was a piano tuner, and he took him very seriously, and he found him so compelling. His access to people's inner layers, his being mistaken for the plumber, those things were fascinating to him. And then, of course, piano tuners also happen to be really essential to people like Herbie Hancock. So it's this bifurcated thing. Anyway, it was a joy to work with the kid.
So the inspiration was just this man that he met. It was just
He sat at dinner with a guy named Peter White, and he talked to him all night.
Wow.
And then he got together with him afterwards. Peter is kind of a Zen master piano tuner. He came over to my house and looked at my piano, and my wife and my daughter and all the women down the street came in to hear him talk about pianos. There's something compelling about Peter White, so we weren't thinking about the piano tuner that I had tuning my piano, who is he does look a lot like the plumber, actually. We were thinking about Peter White.
So Lila and Joanne, when did you come aboard, and what was it that spoke to you about Daniel and this project and the script?
Well, I knew Rob, and Rob sent me the script and told me he was working with Daniel. And I read it on a plane to London, and I was a bit drunk, and, and I really liked it. And I was like, I better read that again when I get off the plane, and I had a couple of drinks. So I read it again, and I really liked it. I found it very propulsive, and I loved the characters. And then I got on the phone with Rob and Daniel, and then I kind of blown away by Daniel and what he was envisioning for it, and he showed me all his storyboarded the whole film and stuff. It was really, I just thought he had it, and sort of I was like, let's get going then, and then we sent it to Dustin, And I brought Lila in because Lila and I had worked together before, and Lila's like really good at independent films, and that's how it got started from us. Yeah.
Lila, what was your reaction to this project when you first came across it?
I mean, similar to Joanne, it's just like you read the script and it's a page turner, but it's also very character driven, and I respond to character driven films, and it is a great ride. It just is really entertaining, and Daniel again is like, I wish he was here too, because we're talking about him all the time, but he is one of the most unique people I've ever met. So you just knew he was going to be able to do something great with it.
So Leo and Havana, obviously this movie wouldn't work without, an amazing Nikki and Ruthie. What was your reaction when you got the script and wanted to work with Daniel?
I was immediately drawn into the script. I finished it, and I think I remember sort of pacing around my hotel room, sort of wishing that I was already doing it. It was one of those scripts that I don't know, I could see a little bit what it looked like, and and that's a credit to you, Rob, but you don't always read scripts and immediately go, I want to do this, and that is how I felt about this script. And then I met Daniel, and yeah, he's a very unique person. He will doodle you throughout your entire meeting. Like that's not a paraphrase. Like he will sit there and he'll kind of be listening and talking and doodling you. Because his mind just his mind works at 1,000 miles an hour, and he's a really brilliant man. He's incredibly talented, and we just had a similar vision for the film.
I mean, you can kind of get that energy just like from the film's like pace and the edit and the sound. Like it's so propulsive, like you said. Havana, like how did you come to be cast in this film as well? Like, did it just the script came your way and
I ask myself the same question all the time. Like, what am I doing here with these amazing people? Yeah, I read the script and I knew everyone was involved, who was involved. And I was like, well, certainly not I. And then fell in love pretty hard with Ruthie right away. And I remember I had a meeting with Daniel, and he was so open to talking about Ruthie as something that also existed off the page, as something that we could develop and figure out and enrich together in order to create a woman who was really determined, but also full of conflict and heart and vulnerability and wanting to be closed off. And it just felt like such a lively creative process to be in together. And obviously Dustin Hoffman and Leo Woodall were in it, so what the fuck am I supposed to do other than say yes? And so I just felt very entranced by the whole thing. And I think also just the challenge of learning how to be a concert pianist. Yeah. Obviously this was a stretch for me, but learning how to be a concert pianist as well just felt like such a massive task. And also you rarely get opportunities where someone invites you to expand in such a massive way and learn new capabilities and just ask you to really challenge yourself. And so it felt like just a wonderful invitation on so many levels.
Well, I know I'm curious, and everyone in this room is curious about Leo and Havana, your background with music, with piano. Like, did you play piano? What were you starting with? Did you play that piece at the end, Leo? I know someone here asked that.
Yes.
You played it.
They were in boot camp doing piano lessons.
We all played it all.
He didn't just play it, he rocked it.
Thanks, guys. We had a lot of training. It was rigorous. It was stressful. It was wonderful. Our teachers were just the best of the best, and I mean I really don't think I don't want to take that much credit, because they were just so patient and so good at what they do. And Marius's music was wonderful. Yeah. I still get that chill when I hear that first sort of
So he was our executive music producer.
Yeah.
It was
Right.
Marius de Vries, and
Yeah.
he composed all the piano pieces.
Amazing.
And he was in charge of with us, finding all the piano teachers in New York and in Toronto. So
Did you play piano? Did either of you play piano at all, like before this?
Should we share this?
I had played until middle school, which is not enough. And it was a lot of training. We did have multiple piano teachers, not just one each, but multiple in different cities at different times. And they broke it down to us in layman's terms of like waterfall section, and really just gave us the metaphor to be able to understand what we were doing. So really a lot of the credit goes to them.
Leo, did you have a background in music or playing piano before you started this?
No, I was absolutely hopeless. I'd like always been very interested in the instrument and had learned multiple tunes, whether it be a movie that I love or just songs that I love. Interstellar being the main one for me. But I could only do them one-handed, and honestly, getting to spend time with that instrument, I'd already had a profound respect for pianists, but golly, it's really difficult, and I have such respect for the instrument and the people playing that instrument. It's really beautiful, and I mean, look, I'm playing Nikki, who is a virtuoso.
Yeah.
They told me very early that you have a few months before you start shooting this thing. You're not going to be a virtuoso, which honestly I was naive enough to think could be my goal.
he loved those piano lessons.
I did love them, some of them. But yeah, it was a wonderful gift to get to do what I love doing, and also kind of learn to understand this instrument a bit more.
But can you tune a piano?
I mean, yeah, actually, I kind of can. Like, there are some intricate things that Peter.
So Peter he taught you how to tune. Okay.
He was our
And
piano
then we had
tuner.
another guy in Canada.
Yeah, he also kind of became our costume designer, because there was a day where we were trying to figure out there was a t-shirt thing that wasn't quite working, and Daniel and Peter go a long way back, and he looked at Peter and he said, "Peter, give me your shirt." And Peter, being the chillest man in the world, just went, "All right," and just took it off, and it became like the hero t-shirt of the movie. It's in like multiple scenes of the movie. And he taught me everything I needed to know for playing Nikki, and it's just you never have the tools, so I'll never be able to like stand next to a piano and I'll tune it for you. You need like those very intricate
Those tools that you just lay on the floor in that giant roll. Yeah. I mean, it's so amazing when I think about like independent film. These two amazing producers we have here. Like, it's not often that independent film gets this amount of time for training and rehearsal, and like that you can teach two of your actors how to become concert pianists. Like, it's so, I guess I don't even have a question other than just like, it's remarkable that the resources to like make this happen, that you guys
We
made them.
didn't have many resources, actually.
I think it's unusual to have this kind of music in an independent film.
Right.
Like this kind of, I've never worked with this kind of music, and I only work in independent film, so it was a pleasure to be able to try to squeeze out as much rehearsal and stuff as we could with the resources we had.
I just want to say, as the screenwriter too, we couldn't have written some of those technical batches of dialogue that you see in this movie without the invaluable help of Marius de Vries, who wrote the music. He was really essential at that. And I just wanted to say that.
And did you guys give him a little shout out by naming the character Marius after him?
I guess Anna did, yeah.
Yes, yeah, it's not a coincidence.
Of course. I wanted to also talk to Joanne and Lila about putting this ensemble together, this amazing ensemble with Dustin Hoffman and Tova Felcha and Leo Raz and these two amazing actors. I mean, you know, what was it like crucial for you to sort of get this caliber of actor? I mean, how do you kind of, it's sort of magical to get this group?
Well, it all started with Dustin. I mean, Daniel said he'd written it for Dustin in his mind, and I couldn't see anyone else, and we thought that. And so I knew Dustin's agent in London, so I sent it to her, and she like loved it, and so she sent it over to Dustin, and him and his wife read it, and they loved it, and so I said, Daniel, go on a plane immediately. And reel Dustin in. So Daniel, being Daniel, jumped on a plane that weekend, and this is before we had any financing, I think. And went to dinner with Dustin, and they got on like House on Fire. And he was like, "Sure, I'll do it." Came back, then we had Dustin, and then we, started putting. We hired Deb Zane, who's a fantastic casting director, and
Yeah, the bad guys are all Deb Zane.
She was suggested Leo. Leo loved it. Then she found Benny and Yoni. I mean, great casting, like brilliant. Benny had never been in a film. He basically came from musical theatre. I mean, just like brilliant. And then Daniel kind of knew you, Leo, through Megan and stuff. And anyway, he was like, so he got you the script, and then Havana.
And for the actors, I mean, what was it like working with Dustin and Tova and these, like, this incredible ensemble?
I mean, we can all, I think we all felt the exact same, which was that, I'll just start with Dustin. Him being on board, would have turned any head without even reading a script. I think he is one of those actors that, he's on your kind of Mount Rushmore of actors. He is one of the best to ever do it. And I was beyond excited to work with him. I was beyond terrified. I was beyond curious. And, he's a really sweet, gentle, funny, unbelievably charismatic man. And that bleeds so well into Harry. I had some of the most fun I've ever had acting with him. What about you?
Ditto. But yeah, he's just also so kind and generous. Like, it felt like he was never trying to teach us things, but he also was all the time. And made it okay for us to fail or to whatever, because he was just sort of a waterfall of positivity and fun and improv. And recently I started calling it the roller coaster of Dustin, because you'd sort of just get on and you were on the ride of whatever he was going to do improvisatively. And I think it made us all better performers.
Leo, I'm curious, aside from like the piano lessons, the piano tuning lessons, like what kind of research did you have to do into like Nicky, who he is, where he's from, like his accent, his tattoos, like, just putting this character together?
Yeah, I mean, it was the tattoos. We were back and forth about tattoos. Daniel had just changed his mind a million times about what they were going to be, but he loved the tuna fish on the hand and then the little red devil. Decided he was from Brooklyn, so got to start on that. But mainly it was talking to Alex Ruger, who Daniel put me in touch with, who's a guy with hyperacusis. And he talked to me at length, very openly and vulnerably and informatively about how the condition affected his life and how it still affects his life. And that was sort of the first stop for me. Was just getting into the bones of it, because it's such a crippling condition.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's interesting how the film doesn't necessarily tell you what's going on at first, and you kind of have to sort of like figure it out, which I think is brilliant screenwriting. But yeah, it just like affects so much just how he moves about the world, and we see him moving about the world and experiencing it first, So Yeah, it's fascinating. I also, I mean, speaking of the condition and stuff, like Johnny Byrne doing the sound design, was that for the producers where you just like, we have to get Johnny?
We were like, we have to get like the best sound, like one of the best sound designers. So
He is the best.
Yeah.
And he actually suffered from hyperacusis when he was younger, so he actually
Wow.
knew what the condition was like.
Wow.
So on top of him being just a fabulous sound designer, he actually responded immediately to the script because he understood what that felt
yeah,
like.
we had like no money for like, you know, a sound designer of his.
Yeah.
Well, he normally gets paid, but we sent him the script and he
Like immediately said yes.
yeah, loved it.
It's such a, you know, the sound is such a part of like the subjective journey that we go on with this character. Like we're in his head the during this whole journey, and like the sound is really just like the most crucial part of how we experience that. I'm curious for everyone on the panel, like what was it like seeing this movie for the first time in a theater with like the sound design, the edit is so sharp and great and rhythmic. Like it had to have been, I mean, I'm sure you had seen, you know, maybe prior cuts, but like seeing it in a theater with everyone, I mean, what was that like for the first time? I mean, Robert, what was that like?
Well, as a writer, I had the privilege of writing with the director, who then made the movie and supervised the editing of it. So he really respected the script. We had overwritten the script, I would say substantially, and he shot every bit of it. And so they had a lot of material. And so when I finally saw the movie done and edited the way that it is, I realized that we had finally achieved the perfect draft. So I experienced relief.
Well, they say it's written 3 times, right? The movie's written 3 times. The last time in the edit. But like for the actors, I mean, for Leo, what was it like sort of seeing the rendering of this like hyperacusis?
It was wonderful. I mean, I you know, I knew through being on set with Daniel where those, you know, all the sharp cuts and how that was gonna determine the pace of the film. But no, I couldn't have wished for better with Johnny's sound design. It was you know, it already felt very real and fleshed out when we were doing it on set, and there was you know, you kind of live it. But what he did with that, you get into his head in a way that I could have never done, and Daniel, in a way that you're limited with all the ways of telling that story. I think it was essential. It became its own, you know, it became a character of its own in this film.
Anybody, Havana?
No, I feel like also I had interviewed the person who you had interviewed, their partner, around hyperacusis and what it is to love someone and to attune through that part of loving someone, how to not love someone too loudly in a way. And I think it was interesting because I had spent all of this time trying to, I guess, empathize with or imagine what it was to be inside of that character's head. And then to actually watch it on screen was kind of unreal because it's the missing piece of empathy in some capacity where you're so living inside of this character's experience. And I will say Leo, without any sound design, did an incredible job of making this happen. I think it still would have worked, but it added this added layer of feeling so intimately involved that I think my character was looking for the whole time. So it was very interesting.
I mean, one thing I love about this movie is like it's just a classic crime thriller, you know, original piece of work. Like someone in here was saying it feels like a noir. Like I was thinking of Thief, Michael Mann's Thief. Like
That was one of his. Yeah.
was that a touchstone
Yeah.
for you? Because Thief is such a great relationship movie. Like, did Daniel sort of offer any inspirations or movies to watch or things to read that would?
Oh really? It's low on battery though.
for for you too? Did he say, "Hey, check out this movie"? Or
I remember we had a bit of Goodwill Hunting. What else?
Thief must have been. Thief was like a.
Thief was a touchstone? Yeah. Okay. Robert, what
You know, we were trying to craft something out of tropes. You know, we really embraced genre with this piece because the story of Nikki is so special. We didn't want to clutter it up with some kind of confusing plot. So, and Daniel's early instincts in terms of how to tell the story really helped us throughout it. So.
Well, it's a great movie. I feel like everyone in this room loved it. Can we say when it comes out? Go see it in the theater. It comes out May 22nd, right?
May 22nd, New York, LA, and then it goes wide on May 29th.
Amazing. So tell your friends.
There's also
sorry.
Thank you, everyone.
there's Dolby screenings on May 17th if you want to hear it in Dolby Atmos. So tell your friends.